Awesome. Okay, so I will officially welcome everyone to the DIVE4Ag interview series. I'm Dr. Brooks, and today we have Cherish Lida, who's one of our Teens as Teachers, who will be interviewing Johannah Hamilton, who is a PhD student at Oregon State in public policy, and also she's very active in the world of agriculture. So I will hand it over to the two of you. I will mute everything and let you take it away.
Sweet.
All right. So my name is Cherish, and I'm really interested in wildlife ecology. So I'm really excited to be able to interview you today. So if you could just introduce yourself a little bit, tell us about you, where you grew up, that would be nice.
Okay, cool. And you can hear me good, right? Okay, cool. My name is Johannah Hamilton. I am starting the 5th and last year of my PhD program at Oregon State in public policy. I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky, born and raised. I went to the University of Kentucky for my undergrad, and then I went to Auburn for my master's, and now I'm here at OSU. I started my own skincare company a couple of years ago in the middle of my program. It's, natural handmade skincare. A lot of agriculture goes into it because most of my ingredients are plant-based. So kind of cool to practically apply a lot of things I've learned just in general in my field to like this, kind of side hustle or passion I have. So it's been pretty cool. And I have a husky named Kiba, and I go on a lot of hikes with him, especially around Oregon. So it's pretty cool.
Nice. So how did you discover your passion for agriculture?
So it's funny because like I said, I was born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky, which is, when people hear Kentucky, they don't think of city, but Louisville has like a population of 1 million people. It's a pretty large city. So definitely grew up in an urban setting. But when I got to the University of Kentucky, I originally started out majoring in accounting, and then I was just like, man, this just isn't for me. I thought I was going to be an accounting major, graduate, and become this, rich person and just live the rest of my life, just chilling. But I just wasn't into it, and one of my friends talked to me about this organization called Manners, and it's minorities in agriculture, natural resources, and related sciences. And so I said, I'll give it a shot. And basically my life really transformed after that. I studied abroad for the first time. I learned so much about agriculture, just a lot of things I was really ignorant about. I just learned so much, and I really just fell in love with the major. So I switched to ag economics, and it's funny because my mom, when I told her, I walked in my advisor's office. I said, Mom, I just switched my major. And she said, are you crazy? What are you going to do? Be a farmer? And, here I am like years later, and that's exactly what I'm trying to be as a farmer. So, Manners was definitely a large part of that. And a large part of like why I'm at OSU today. So.
Why do you feel agriculture or rural policy is important? And why do you think teens should be aware of that as well?
Well, there is just such this kind of divide from urban and rural. And I think if you're kind of like me and you grew up, in an urban setting, it's something you were never really aware of. Just how much different and how I guess the urban versus the rural communities have such different needs. I actually took a rural policy class, and I learned so much just about for instance, how vulnerable rural populations are, especially like with the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, I think that really just kind of exposed how vulnerable rural communities are. So like, just for instance, a lot of the hospitals in rural populations were closed. And if like a lot of times when you're out in the country, there might be only one hospital for 50, 60, 70, 100 miles, things like poverty, people, this kind of migration from rural to urban, the big kind of issue that happened with poultry workers during COVID, and food chain supply workers getting infected with COVID. And I mean, all these are just kind of examples of like policy. I mean, of course, you know, COVID was new. There was so much we didn't know about it, but all those are just examples of kind of how rural areas were really majorly impacted versus urban. Not that urban areas weren't. But yeah, and then of course it regulates our food, you know, keeps us from getting sick, keeps our food clean, keeps our food chains and our food systems in order. So yeah, it's just really important. Rural policy, agricultural policy is really important because, you know, we all got to eat. And I think it's important for teens to know that because like I said, I just had no idea about these paradigms and these differences that existed between rural and urban communities. So honestly, the younger you are and the quicker you learn about it, the quicker you can get out there and try to make an impact, you know? So yeah, I think it's really important for teens to be aware of it too.
I read that you've done multiple study abroad programs in multiple countries around the world.
Yes.
So I was wondering if you could elaborate on a couple of those and just how it impacted you, how it changed your interest or your career path.
Yes. Okay. So, you know, like I said, after I switched to agricultural economics, my entire life was seriously transformed. I studied abroad for the first time. I fell in love with it. I had been studying Spanish since I was in second grade. So that was already like a bonus to like, okay, why I should study abroad. But my first study abroad, I went to Panama. I got to actually like apply like everything I had learned from Spanish over the years. So it was awesome. And then we basically did like an agritourism. It was an agritourism program. And we just kind of toured and stayed in every region in Panama, went on poultry farms, permaculture farms. I learned how to surf. We did like a surfing thing. It was pretty cool. Yeah, we interviewed agribusiness owners. We stayed at this beautiful like volcanic sand beach, and we got to interview the owner like over the sunset and stuff. And it was so awesome, but it was just such an enriching experience. And I learned so much, especially about like rural areas opposed to urban areas, and comparing that, kind of looking at that comparatively with the US and Panama. And then I also did another study abroad. We also studied abroad in the Dominican Republic and Mexico, and Puerto Rico, which of course, that's a US territory, but still, when we went to Puerto Rico, I went with OSU College of Ag. A lot of Manners students went too. So that was pretty awesome. But we helped to rebuild a school from Hurricane Maria. We had engineering students there who worked on that. I worked on planting native trees. We got in contact with people down there. We raised over 1,000 seed packets. We brought down, we connected with the University of South Florida. We brought a bee box there because, of course, their bee population was wiped out by the hurricane. And we all know we need, bees to make things grow. So I've studied abroad a lot, and it's really, really broadened, my perspective and just my horizons about a lot of things. So yeah, and it definitely contributed to like why I'm so passionate about agriculture now and why I want to do things, because at the end of the day, everybody has to eat, so it affects everybody. So really transformed my perspective on a lot of things.
Really neat. And I know you also went to Nicaragua in one of your trips, and you interned with a company there as well. And that sounded pretty cool. If you could elaborate on that some.
Yes. So after I graduated from the University of Kentucky, I got an opportunity with UK to do kind of like an exchange program, and I was the first student, so I was almost like the guinea pig. But I went down to Nicaragua. I stayed in Chinandega, and I worked with this company called Pantaleon, and they have a company there and in Guatemala and in Brazil, and they're the largest agribusiness in Latin America. They had over 100,000 hectares of sugarcane at the location I was at. Basically, for my project, I just compared I compared their returns from the previous year. What was that, 2015? Yeah. So I compared their returns from 2014 to 2015 and gave them like suggestions on what they could do to kind of like maximize their profit and minimize their cost. So that was amazing. I stayed like in this big 10-person kind of workers housing, but even though there were like 10 people in there, I never saw anybody. And we had like people who came in and cooked us breakfast Monday through Friday. We had people do our laundry, so that was really awesome. I got to travel around Nicaragua. I learned a lot. They have like a freshwater lake down there with sharks, so that was pretty cool. I got to ride on that. It was cool. Saw some like wild horses and stuff. It was awesome. Definitely learned so much just about the cosechador, the harvesting, just like the whole process down there. And actually the company I was working with, the sugar cane, they would take it and convert the sugar to energy, and they supplied Nicaragua with 20% of their electricity, so through their sugar cane. So that was like really awesome. Yeah, just overall like amazing, transformative experience. They really wanted me to be safe, so they always have security guards there, and I would leave on the weekends because we wouldn't have anybody to come in and cook, and he would be like, "Donde vas? Where you going?" And I would be like, "Oh, I'm just going down here to the Roasty Pollo to get some food." And then after that, I would like get a taxi and go into town and like hang out at the little festival downtown. They had like this little carnival always going on downtown. It was so much fun. And then when I'd come back, the security guard would be like, "So where were you?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I was just eating." So it was a really, really cool, really transformative experience. I definitely recommend anybody, if you ever get the opportunity to study abroad. My mom kind of discouraged me from doing it because she was like scared, because she had never done anything like that. So, it's understandable, but, don't be scared, just go outside of your comfort zone. If you get the opportunity to study abroad, definitely take it.
Sounds like you got a number of really neat experiences.
Yeah.
What are some of the current research projects or things that you're working on right now?
So right now for my dissertation, I'm working on, this bill was passed through the House, a few years ago, and, it's on cultural competency in higher education, and just, the demographics in our country are changing. They will always, be changing because this is a melting pot, as everybody says, the US is a big melting pot. But a lot of times we don't have, I guess, like our different systems, like, in place to, I guess, adjust or, to be necessarily ready for all those changes. So basically, in this bill, they said that every public university and college in the state of Oregon needs to have some measure of cultural competency, whether it's through like trainings or a class. Like for us, we have the DPP program that students have to take. And just basically like to show that you're trying to push your university or your college to be as culturally competent as it can. And basically just, LGBTQs, people of color, disabled people, non-traditional students, veterans, just people whose first language may not be English. All those people are people who a lot of times don't have necessarily the best resources or what am I trying to say? That just the best resources or just everything they need while they're in school. So yeah, so this project just basically trying to see like what are the differences between like schools that do have this like kind of large advanced cultural competency measure in place versus those who don't, and how does that impact the students and their experiences on campus. And then for the summer, I'm working on we've been getting this grant. It's called the Multicultural Scholars Program every 2 years. And basically it funds our bioresource research students, which my advisor, Wanda, or my supervisor, she's the BRR assistant director. And I'm under her, I'm her GTA for manners and SACNAS. And SACNAS is Society for the Advancement of Chicanos, Hispanics, and Native Americans in Science. But yeah, so we're working on the grant. We're trying to also see like some of the gaps that exist for certain students and other students, and why those gaps kind of exist. What do they need, to kind of fill those gaps? And as far as graduation rates and retention and things of that nature. So that's kind of what I'm working on. A lot of diversity initiatives. The cultural competency program is definitely a lot of the schools are in rural areas, so there will definitely be a lot of rural and urban comparisons. So that's just what I've been working on.
With your interest in agriculture, how did you choose what school you wanted to go to?
So, I got to this point in my master's program, it's getting close to graduation. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was like, maybe I should join the Peace Corps. I don't know, go somewhere in Latin America. But I also knew I was really, really passionate about policy. So I didn't know, like, maybe I should go get a PhD in policy, or maybe I should go to law school. But I actually met Wanda at a manners conference in Pittsburgh. And, I'm from the South. Oregon is so far away to me. I never imagined I would be living in Oregon. But I met Wanda by Monday. Like, I met her on Friday at the conference. By Monday, she had already connected me with Brent. She was really, really adamant about getting me up for a visit. I really didn't know much or anything about Oregon, but I came up here and I visited, and the campus was amazing. The policy program was amazing. And I really wanted to go to a school where I could get that policy kind of education, but also a lot of it still focused on ag. And so it kind of worked out perfect with Oregon State, because, like I said, they weren't on my radar at all, just because Oregon is so far away. Like, even when I told my mom, like, I think I'm going to go to Oregon for my PhD, she said, "Where's Oregon?" And I was like, it's the state above California, So, so just like a really supportive kind of faculty and program was one thing I was really looking for, just because graduate school is hard. College in general is hard, but graduate school is definitely on another level, and you have to really you really need support. You have to do a lot on your own, but your committee, your program, your department, having a really supportive department can make all the difference in the world, from you completing your programming and you not completing your program. So that was one thing. And also, when I came to visit, I noticed Oregon was really, really green. So I thought that was so cool. It was so green. So that's not something I was looking for in a school, but something I got definitely from being in Oregon. So that was awesome. But yeah, just a really supportive program, and a good program too. Our Masters of Public Policy program is one of the top programs in the country. Our College of Ag is one of the top, ag programs in the country. So just like, and of course, Oregon's really beautiful. So it was just like, all right, y'all sold me, I'm here.
Sort of obstacles did you have to overcome to get to where you are now?
Well, I think, of course, just like for a lot of students, kind of you get that imposter syndrome where you reach a certain level and you think, I don't deserve to be here. I've just, I've been kind of, I don't know, I've been faking it till I make it. And now I'm here, and you just kind of get this overwhelming feeling of like maybe you're not good enough to be where you are or in your program, or just at the point in your life you are. But kind of going back to that supportive department, that's when like kind of things like those, your department helps you, your peers help you, they kind of build you up and support you and tell you, no, you deserve to be here. You know what I mean? You've worked hard. So definitely like self-doubt and imposter syndrome has definitely been a big obstacle. And then just when I went from the East Coast to the West Coast, the school was on the quarter system. So, that's 10 weeks of school, or semesters worth of school crammed into 10 weeks versus like, at Auburn and UK, it was like you start school in August and you finish like first week of December, much more time. So that was a huge, really just an adjustment, just adjusting to just from the East Coast to the West Coast. It was a cultural shock. That was a big adjustment. And then going from semesters to quarters, and then of course, being in a PhD program, getting that kind of imposter syndrome. Like, I don't know if I'm good enough to be in a PhD program. Because, when I was younger, I never even dreamed, I would be getting a doctorate or anything like that. Or, so just, sometimes you are your biggest obstacle. But yeah, but like I said, once you kind of find your tribe and your support group, that's like, to me, the most important thing to do when you start a program, because they're the ones who are going to like lift you up when you're feeling down and just, kind of support you and help you keep going.
Yeah, so talking a little bit more about support groups, did you have a mentor at all as you were going through school and finding your passion? And how did you find them and how did they help you?
Yes. So I've said it a few times. I'm going to say it again. Manners, manners, manners. And manners, like seriously, I found so many mentors through manners. My advisor in undergraduate, Dr. Quentin Tyler, huge mentor for me, helped me out a lot, got me connected with the manner. This kind of taught me the whole, it's not what you know, it's who you know thing. It's like so true. Like Dr. Tyler's the one who connected me with the department head of agricultural economics in Auburn. And so I got recruited to Auburn through Manners the same way I got recruited to Oregon through Manners, and I had my mentors here at Oregon State, my supervisor, Wanda, she's a major, just huge. She, I can't brag on her enough because she's my mentor, but she's actually become one of my best friends too. Wanda Cornell, I tore my ACL a couple years ago, and it's like, when you start school, you're still going through life. Normal things still happen to you. You know what I mean? Like you can still like break an arm or break a leg or anything. But I tore my ACL, and I've tore it before when I was in high school, but I had my parents to take care of me. But I'm like 3,000 miles away from home. Like, what am I going to do? And I have a husky too. Like, how am I going to walk my dog? But Wanda, she let me stay with her for a week while a week after my surgery, because you can't walk for a few days after your ACL surgery. So that's definitely a mentor that has become a friend and helped me out so much. But I would just say to find a mentor, just get involved. Even if it's not manners, just, get involved on campus, get involved in these different organizations, see if you like something, try something out. If you don't like it, you don't have to stick with it. That's the good thing about volunteer organizations. They're all volunteers. So if you're like, hey, maybe this isn't for me, you can just switch to something else or try something else out. But I do know a lot of the experiences I have and a lot of the things that kind of showed me and molded me and kind of taught me what I like was through manners and through my just participation in other organizations and clubs on campus. And so, yeah, definitely just getting involved will help you find mentors. Kate Fields is another major mentor for me. And even though she's in the College of Science, you know, she has helped me so much. I'm actually doing the MSP research with Kate and Wanda. So yeah, they just your mentors, and they also know about a lot of information, a lot of opportunities that you might not know about. So they're always connecting you, you know. It's like for instance, OSU just sent out another wave of like support or whatever. Like they've been sending out, like, if you need support, you can fill out a quick little thing for COVID relief. And I had no idea they sent it out. Wanda emailed all of us, you know, all her students today and sent it out. And fortunately, I got to apply really quick. But I don't know if I would have known about that if Wanda hadn't sent it to me, you know. So yeah, just getting a mentor can seriously really change your life, really change your experiences, and it can really transform and shape you. So definitely get a mentor, definitely get involved on campus. So
one last question for you.
Cool.
What activities should teens also interested in agriculture start doing in order to prepare for a career like yours?
I would say, you know, just getting out here and doing little things like you know, starting up little gardens. But there's so many different components of agriculture outside of actually growing food. There's just so many different components. So if you're like, I want to be in the ag field, I might not necessarily want to grow. Maybe you want to be part of the supply chain or something. Just do some research. If you do want to grow, want to be a farmer, maybe get some little plants, some little tomatoes, start teaching yourself how to grow and things of that nature. But then also, you just get involved. A lot of these organizations, and again, you know, Manners, I'm going to talk about it a lot because I'm involved in it. Manners, they have a junior Manners chapter. So a lot of these programs, you know, they have junior Manners, they have high school programs where you can get involved. FFA, if you've ever been in FFA, 4-H is a great thing to get involved in. The extension service. Just learn about these things, getting involved. And again, like I said, you know, these are college organizations, but they have opportunities for teens to really get involved and really learn and trying to just kind of get their feet wet, you know, and the kind of the ag industry and see what you may like and might not like, you know. Like I said, when I first started college, I said, I'm going to be an accountant and I'm going to be rich and live in a big fancy house and just live happily ever after. And I hated accounting, but I loved agriculture. So just something I would have never known if I hadn't kind of went outside of my comfort zone and expanded my horizon. So just get involved. Do research on agricultural organizations that offer opportunities for teens and high schoolers. Come to campus, you know, come do a visit on campus, you know. We have our junior Manners students come up. We're actually doing our first Junior Manners Leadership Institute in a couple weeks, and it's just 5 days of programming. We have people from Tillamook coming in. We're going to do a cheese chat. We're going to have a hemp and fiber day. I think some of those students are going to come down in December to visit, you know. So they do tours all year round. You know, you can come tour the gardens that the Organic Growers Club, you know, grows on. You can tour the gardens. You can tour where the bee boxes are. You can tour. You can just, you know, you can learn a lot, and it's cool because when you're young, you know, like, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. You can just switch. You can do something else. But it's cool to learn and just kind of get a feel for what you like. But yeah, just definitely to rephrase that, just do research, get involved, find out what you like, find out what you don't like. And, you know, by the time you get to college, you'll probably know a lot better than I did when I got to college, you know, what you want to do. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much for setting aside some time for us to talk with you.
Yeah, Cherish, thank you so much for interviewing me. I really appreciate it.
Really need to hear about your experiences, and it's definitely encouraging.
Yeah.
looking forward to what I might want to do for the different opportunities that are available.
Yeah, and I don't know if you have my email, but if you ever have any questions, feel free to email me. I don't know if you're on LinkedIn. That's one thing I should say. Get a LinkedIn, everybody. That's another suggestion I have for teens. You know, get a LinkedIn. You know, start kind of developing those professional networks early. So that's another thing. But yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you both. This was an awesome interview. I feel like I learned so much more about you, Johannah.
Yeah.
I've passed quite a few times in the past.